It's going to be really interesting tonight because I'm not usually I'm not usually just flat out bitchy, but today I'm just flat out bitchy. It's just not been a good day. Uh, you know, um, the anniversary of losing my mom, the first one, was Saturday, and today's just been kind of a well, I don't like to say this because it's so negative, but it's just been kind of a shit show today. So it'll be really interesting to see how well I do getting through this and if I don't go off onto a tearing rant about something. Um, but living with chronic illness is very strange, and the medical community, which is one of the things I'm not happy about today. Um, the medical community can be very difficult to navigate and to work with, and even if you find a doctor that you get along with, I mean, you've got, when you're dealing with pain and pain medication, now you've got the government involved at the federal level, at the state level, you got the pharmacies involved, you've got the insurance companies involved, you've got the clinic administration involved, and you know who has the least voice? The patient and my doctor, apparently. But anyway, that's a topic for another day, maybe. We'll see if it comes back up. But um, it is difficult to navigate this world. It's difficult to navigate the chronic illness world, both through the medical community and just the world at large, because nobody does understand it. So here are some things that a doctor with chronic illness wishes that you knew. This information, by the way, is from a great website called themighty.com. And The Mighty is a website for people with health issues, disabilities, chronic illnesses, and it can be a really good resource. Anyway, the fact that some of this stuff needs to be said, y'all, is just wow. Number one, nobody wants to be sick. Why the hell does this even need to be said? But here we are. Um, we just want our lives back. We're looking for answers. We're looking for help. We're looking for acceptance. I know we scare the crap out of most healthy people. You won't admit it, but we do. Because look at me. I don't look like there's anything wrong with me. But yet the people who know me, they can see it in my face. They can see it in my body language. And I think it freaks people out. Anyway, the fact that the doctor had to put that as number one kind of shows you how messed up this can be. Number two, this is a big issue. A lot of doctors, even now, a lot of doctors don't get it. The assumption for years was that people like me, oh, that patient's just crazy. And they thought that depression and anxiety were driving the illness. And, oh, thanks, Kevin. And, to a degree, that's true in my case, but it's not that simple. And, I would like to see how depressed and stressed you were if you had to live with pain pretty much 24/7. Um, sorry, sidetrack. They have a new feature. They had a new thing pull up, and I hadn't seen it before, so um, I had to look and see what it was. But it was just a note for me. It was just kind of distracting. But okay, to also freely admit, I'm also in like one of those squirrel moods. So it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be interesting. But they really thought that it was a mental issue, and the only treatments that they offered were psychiatric care. And it's still really difficult despite like with fibromyalgia, which is my main diagnosis. Well, I don't even know if that's right to say it's my main diagnosis. That was my first diagnosis. And even now, we've got a ton of evidence that it exists. I mean, for goodness sakes, the Mayo Clinic does studies on it, and I trust the Mayo Clinic pretty well over just about any other medical people. But, you know, I live in a small, isolated town, and I'm not the only person with health issues who lives in a small, isolated town. And it's so hard. You're not only looking for answers, but you got to try to find a doctor who's just not going to be an arrogant ass and actually listen to you. And if you are in a really small town, you're probably not going to find a doctor who's familiar with whatever weird health shit you've got going on. Excuse my language. But if you can find a doctor who will actually listen to you, and you can tell, when they're listening and when they're just trying to get you, oh God, eye rolling and trying to get you out the door, find someone who will listen to you. That's your best bet if you're in a small town. Number 3, and again, the fact that this crap needs to be said, people, I'm sorry, but we need to do better as a society. Being unable to work is not a freaking vacation. Everybody needs to feel a purpose. Everyone has to have a purpose. Many of us, I'm blessed. I'm really blessed. I am able to work. I will tell you, it gets difficult. Today it was like everything that could go wrong with work went wrong. And I was just putting out ridiculous fires and just going in circles all day. It was so frustrating. So I was already not feeling good. But I have to remember at the end of the day, there's a lot of people out there who deal with health issues who would love to trade places with me. And they would be so happy to have a job. Even if they are dragging ass through it, at least I can do something. Being too sick to get out of bed, it sucks. Why do we need to tell you that? I mean, come on, people. That's so ridiculous. And, it can really easily get to the point where our lives are nothing but pain and medical appointments. It's not very fun. Side note, I'm really fortunate. I'm on a lot of committees at work, and I've been able to have a voice. They're looking at, post-pandemic restructuring our workplace. And I keep telling them, being able to work remotely for me was an absolute blessing, because there were many days when there's no way in hell I would have drugged myself out of the house in the cold, dark Alaskan winter, feeling like death warmed over, to go up to the office. But most of those days, I was able to come into my home office and I could still be productive, and I could still have that, just a purpose. And it made such a big difference for me. Anyway, number 4, the emotional impact of chronic pain is underrated. This stuff can actually change the biochemistry of the mood control center in your brain. Isn't that crazy? And there is a lot of depression and anxiety that comes with this. There's a lot of depression and anxiety with the years and years and years that it usually takes to get a diagnosis. The inability to work and feel productive. You guys have people on the outside, it's like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky. No, you're not. People who can't work because of health issues, they're not lucky. They're freaking sick. Most of them would rather work, I can guarantee you. Changes our family dynamics, especially when you have a so-called invisible illness like I do. You don't look sick. What the hell are you complaining for? It leads to social isolation. I don't want to whine at people. I don't want to, how you feeling? I'm fine. And it's just easier to withdraw from everybody. I'm really blessed. I have 2 girlfriends who they figured it out in December, and they called me and they're like, okay, this is it. You're not going to do this anymore. It was late December when they called. From now on, we're going out once a month, no matter what. And we barely squeezed April in under the wire because it was a busy month for all 3 of us. But, I'm so fortunate, because otherwise, if it wasn't for that, I would have no social life. There you go. We're stressed and depressed and anxious because of the financial strain of dealing with all of this. There's a weird struggle with simple daily tasks. Everything it's everything is exhausting. I mean, I know that sounds really hyperbolic, but it's the truth. There's a lot of grief involved with this. We just want our health back. You know, a lot of it's funny because I read books about this and these people are like, I want my old life back. I don't. I flat out do not want my old life back because I can honestly say I have taken this and used it as an opportunity to grow and learn. And I'm a much better person now. I don't want my old life back. I don't want to go back to being that person I used to be. However, I'd love to have that health back that I took so for granted. And we want to be able to look forward to the future. I was suicidal for several years because of this, because it's way too many becauses in one sentence, but because I could not find any hope. I was not faithful at the time. I didn't have a strong belief in God, and I was so deep in despair, and it was like being in a big black pit. But if you're dealing with this and you want to look forward to the future, my advice to you, and you can take it for what it's worth, but you might want to check out religion. Nah, not religion, spirituality. I don't go to church. I don't really have any interest in going to church, but spending time with God is really important to me, and it's helped me cope a whole lot better than I used to. Of course, today is not very good evidence of that, but number 5 thing that a doctor with chronic illness wishes that you knew: the symptoms are very complex. And of course, this is going to vary from illness to illness, but there's a lot of commonalities kind of across the board: extreme fatigue, pain, brain fog, nausea, dizziness. And the pain, man, some days it is so intense. And it's joints, muscles, nerves, back, neck, headaches. I am freaking plagued with headaches. And the symptoms wax and wane, which is nice because at least it's not horrible all the time. But the inconsistency of it all, it makes it really difficult to make plans. And they, as I like to say, the ubiquitous they, because I have no idea who they are, but they say that a good day for someone like me would be like you having the flu body aches all day. And when's the last time you were up and exercising and going about your business with the flu body aches? Number 6. This is another one that just cannot be stated strongly enough: the fatigue that comes with chronic illness. Y'all, I thought I knew what tired was. No, I had no idea. I had no freaking idea what it was like to be tired until all this crap started in my life. It's overwhelming. It's easily triggered by daily activities. And like today, it wasn't really my activities, but I just didn't have a good day. I've been under a lot of stress and a lot of pressure, and I honestly am like this close to losing my shit. But I just have to get through this week. I have a finite timeline. I can do 4 more work days and I get a break. But it's overwhelming. It's easily triggered by daily activities and big events. Like, I'm hoping that we'll be able to do this again. I absolutely freaking love to go to seminars, to go to personal development seminars. To spend a weekend around positive, ambitious, motivated, happy people, that feeds my soul on a very deep level. But I know if I go to one, I know it's going to kick my ass for days afterwards. And when the fatigue hits, it's like I hit a wall. I will get to where I can hardly keep my eyes open. And I have, resting, when you're at that point, rest is not optional. I have almost passed out more than once, not a whole lot because I figured out that it was really stupid to push when I'm that exhausted. But I've almost passed out at work a few times. My boss had a meltdown. What the hell are you doing here? Go home. But you need to understand this exhaustion, this Fatigue just doesn't come close. Hell, exhaustion doesn't come close. I mean, it's just literally to your bone weary. You just can't. The thought of having to do anything is so intensely overwhelming. Y'all need to understand we're not trying to be lazy. We would love to be productive. We want to be productive. We want to have a purpose. We want to go out with you and go have fun. But you know, if your friend with chronic illness has to cancel at the last minute, things that we have to tell people, don't make it about you. It's not. It's not about you. Why is this a freaking newsflash? It's not about you. So don't take it that way. And for goodness sakes, don't be a jerk and say something like, I used to have people tell me all the time, oh my God, are you canceling again? You're such a flake. I'm so sorry that my chronic pain issues are very inconvenient for you. You know, if you really like the person, and I say this a lot, if you really like the person and they're having to cancel plans, instead of being a complete ass about it, why don't you be an amazing friend and say, you know what, I'm really sorry that you're not feeling it. I hate the idea of you sitting there alone all night. So how about I'll pick up your favorite dinner, I'll come over and we'll just hang out and watch TV, and then be a low maintenance guest. Hell, you wait on them a little bit. You'd be amazed what that would do for somebody, just to make them feel reassured and loved, because you guys, we feel so out of touch. We feel so out of touch with the rest of the world so often. Anyway, number 7 thing that a doctor with chronic illness wishes that you knew. Brain fog is freaking maddening. It drives me crazy. This is probably the hardest symptom to describe, but it's a legitimate cognitive dysfunction, and it can leave you struggling and stammering for words. And like yesterday, I almost put I buy, oh, it's really good. I can't remember the brand. I think it's S-O, but they make a cashew milk, which, okay, it's still not AIP approved, but they make a cashew milk ice cream, and it's a chocolate truffle, and it is so good. And I ate my little portion yesterday, and I went to put it away, and I almost put it in the damn pantry, and I was like, whoa, I can't do that. I would have not only ruined the rest of my ice cream, but it would have made a mess in my pantry. Hey, thank you, J.I. Thanks for the subscription. Oh my goodness, y'all. Brain fog, what can I say? But it impacts our concentration and our recall. And I got to tell you, this is the one that I think is the worst. The physical pain, you can kind of set that aside, unless it's a really difficult day. But you get to where if it's a pretty average day, you can kind of push it to the back of your head. But the brain fog, it's the only way I can think of to describe it is it's like my head is packed really tight with cotton, and all my thoughts have to fight their way out. Excuse me. Number 8, this, I gotta say, this added an extra layer of oh crap to the COVID era. We have a greater risk of serious infections. Well, certainly our bodies are exhausted from fighting themselves all the time. A minor cold for you, it really can turn into a major illness for someone like me. So if you're sick and you have the ability to, and I understand not everybody does, but if you have the ability to, stay the hell home. I used to work with a guy who, we have this weird attitude. I don't know if it's everywhere in the Western world, but certainly in America, of it's okay that I'm hacking up lung cookies. I can work today. No, you can't. Stay the hell home. Stay home. And this one guy used to always come into my office, and I'm always the desk when I'm there. I'm always the desk that everybody gathers at because I'm fun. But he's standing there one day, and he's I have a lot of knick-knack. Obviously I'm a knick-knack girl, and he's fiddling with the stuff on my desk, and he's hacking and everything. And I finally said, are you okay? Oh, I'm pretty sick. And I was like, the hell are you doing? Get away from my desk. And I was not very nice about it. I chased him into his office, and then I had to get out Clorox wipes and clean everything off my desk because I didn't want it. I didn't want to get sick. You know, I burn enough sick leave dealing with my own crap. Please don't bring your crap to the office. Number 9, foods can trigger symptoms. Now, of course, stereotypical bad food. I don't want to say bad. Food's not really bad, it's just food. But things that can really trigger inflammation and other issues if you're chronically ill: gluten, dairy, sugar, soy, yeast, booze, unfortunately, and processed foods. Now, sometimes it can be difficult for you to figure out what is causing a reaction. I used to really follow this lady, big health and fitness person. Oh, I can't see the link, honey, but I'll check it out. Thank you. But she eats super healthy, and she kept running like every so often. She just would feel like hell. Exactly. It's so frustrating, isn't it? Well, and because it's what makes it worse is we're all individuals. So here's this woman who eats super healthy, and she finally was like, well, okay, I'm going to have to keep a food journal. And you know what it was? Her body didn't like quinoa. Quinoa is considered pretty healthy for the vast majority of people. She can't eat quinoa. So if you're really struggling with this and you don't want to just go on a massive elimination, keep a food journal and start paying attention to how you feel. Side note, I would rather just do the massive elimination because I absolutely flippin' hate food journals. But be that as it may, if you're really struggling and you're not sure what the hell's going on, you've got to keep a food journal. And then you can look back the next morning when you wake up, like, oh, I feel terrible. You can look back, oh, I ate this. And you'll be able to find the patterns. And you know what? If you don't journal, you're probably not going to find those patterns, because Shalene wouldn't have. And again, she eats like insane. I would love to eat that healthy. I just don't. Anyway, number 10, sensitivity to smells is common. Perfumes and colognes, cleaning supplies, smoke. It's so funny. I'm an ex-smoker. I used to be a pack-a-day smoker. God, that's so crazy to say now because it was so long ago. But I was a pack-a-day smoker, and now the smell of a cigarette, absolutely, it makes my nose just start burning. If I'm around it very long, I get a headache. I'll get queasy. Cleaning supplies, they changed whatever they were doing using to clean the floors at work a few years ago, and I love to walk the stairs to get extra. I mean, come on, you guys, I'm like 125 miles or so as the crow flies from the Arctic Circle. In the wintertime, I walk around in my office building to get exercise, and I can go up a pretty open stairwell, but the way I like to go, because you know how we get into our weird little habits. Yes, actually, add one thing a week is that's a very good approach. But I opened up one of the closed stairwells, and I'm always lost in my own head. And I'm about halfway up the first flight of stairs, and all of a sudden the smell hit me. And by the time I got the rest of the way up to the next floor where I could get off the stairwell, I was so nauseous. I was really dizzy, and I had the worst headache for the rest of the day. Smells can be really difficult. They can trigger nausea, headaches, brain fog, and other symptoms. Hell, I switched to all natural cleaning products a few years ago. Honestly, I'm just being real with you guys. It wasn't out of any sense of altruism. It was because I could not handle the smells of the chemicals anymore. And finally, excuse me, finally, the 11th thing, she had a list of 12, but I don't remember what was on the list. There was something I didn't agree with, so I took it off, because I'm not going to come on here and talk. I don't care who it's from. I'm not going to come on here and tell you something that I don't personally believe in. So anyway, management takes a ton of effort. Oh my gosh, it really does. We lead very regimented lives, lots of rest, medication schedules, avoiding trigger foods, avoiding trigger smells. I do a lot of home therapies. I brush my skin every day, which is really good for your lymphatic system. I use my fascia blasters almost every day. I don't brush my skin every day, but probably 5-6 days a week. 5-6 days a week, I'm using a fascia blaster, and I do my whole body. Well, that stuff takes time. I need to go to bed at the same time every night, even on the weekends. I need to get up at the same time every morning, even on the weekends. I don't always do it, but You know, sometimes we just want to be a little bit normal. So we just throw caution to the wind. Like I know when I go out for my girls' night, I know I'm going to pay for it because I'm not going to watch what I eat and drink. And I eat and drink a lot of stuff I shouldn't. But you know what? I'm out and I'm being surrounded by people who love me and who uplift me and who really support me. And I just get to have a night of almost being normal again. So if you have someone in your life who's got health issues and they go out and kick up their heels, don't lecture. It's not your job to be our conscience. We know. We're a lot more aware of it than you are ever going to be. Just be kind, be supportive. I mean, again, shit that really shouldn't need to be said, but does. But I'm going to spare you guys the rant because I'm afraid if I get going, I'm going to start crying and I won't stop. Either the crying or the ranting. So we're just not going to do that tonight. But I appreciate y'all's time, truly. Thank you to my new subscribers. Oh my gosh, I just went blank on what else I was going to say. I will be back Wednesday at 5 o'clock Alaska time. Y'all take care. If you have any questions, look, I'm not an expert. All I can tell you is I've been dealing with this mess a really long time. And I went from someone who was really severely depressed and suicidal. And now I'm known on Twitter, of all places, as someone with a really positive attitude in the face of all of this. So if you're struggling with this or you have a loved one who's struggling with this, drop me a line on Twitter at Alaskan Courtney. I try to be very responsive because this, you know, this stuff is important. I would have loved to have found somebody back when I was first diagnosed to say, yeah, okay, you kind of got a crappy deal, but you're going to have to figure it out, and then offer me tips on how to figure it out. Because when I was first diagnosed, everybody that I found who could understand, and it was so exciting to find people who understood. But a lot of the support groups, and this is a very big word of caution here, a lot of the online support groups, not all, I know there's good ones out there because there just has to be, but a lot of them, they're a race to the bottom. They're literally a contest of, well, my life sucks. Yeah, well, my life sucks even more. I don't want to be around people like that. I get it. I get it because I've been there. I understand where they're at, but I don't want to be like that. So that's why I do this stuff. That's why I put myself, you think this is easy to put myself out here like this? It's not. But I know how important it is because, well, because I get feedback. I get messages from people who tell me, oh my God, thank you. I needed to hear that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I am totally rambling at y'all. Ha ha ha. Is Haps dying? Shit, really? I don't know. I was on Periscope and I really liked it, and then Twitter axed it. Maybe Elon will bring it back. But I can't live stream on YouTube because, well, maybe I can now, but the last time I checked, I needed 1,000. Oh, son of a bitch. Excuse me. I don't know. Are you on Twitter, honey? Heckle. Okay. But do you know, will that feed into my Twitter? I better write this down. I'm so glad you're here because I had no idea, and boy, would I have been really freaking surprised. Do you follow me on Twitter? Do we follow each other on Twitter? And I'm gonna write down. Okay, yep, it's at Alaskan Courtney. So, well, I appreciate very much the information, but I got to tell you, there's a big part of it that's just going, well, F. That's just another bit of bad news that I did not need today, but I am glad you told me. So I will, I'll try to figure it out. But I always appreciate y'all's time. Apparently I'm looking for another new home again. Damn it. Stupid Twitter shutting down Periscope. Anyway, yeah, I'll check out Heckler. Yeah, no, I haven't got, I was just thinking, I haven't seen any emails or anything, but excellent. I'll follow you back. Okay. I'm done. I got to go figure out what I'm going to do about dinner, and I want to make a cocktail, y'all. It's just been a day. So y'all take care. I will be back Wednesday at 5 o'clock. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for telling me about that. I'll be back Wednesday at 5 o'clock Alaska time. Or will I? Yes, because that'll be the 4th. That'll be our last day. Holy crap. So yeah, I'm gonna have to check out Heckle. Ah, crap. I just what I needed was another thing on my to-do list, but you know, it is what it is. Y'all take care, and I will see you Wednesday. Thanks.